The goal with charting is to separate the signal from the noise. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gibraltar Stock Market Weekly Review and Forecast. I'm your host, Dr. BJ Love, and I'll be bringing you this week's update for January 19th, 2025. Here at Gibraltar, we use time-tested methods and indicators that helps us to navigate these markets with confidence, clarity, and calmness. The S&P 500 flirts with 6,000, while the market participants are still cautious. The major averages turned in their best weekly performance since November in volatile trading last week, triggered by better than expected earnings from the banking industry. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq were able to grind higher. Equities also rallied on strong earnings from JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley that all saw the stocks reach new highs. The rally was broad based, with every sector participating, led by a plus 6% surge in energy as crude oil prices have hit a 5-month high. Interest rates were lower, pulling back from 4.8 to close at 4.6%. The major averages ended a 2-week losing streak. Now, for the period, the Dow Jones Industrial Average added 1,549 points, to close at 43,488. The S&P 500 rose 170 points and closed at 5,997. The Nasdaq added 469 points, finishing at 19,630, while the Russell 2000, the small cap Russell 2000, picked up 87 points and settled at 2,276. Now the VIX fell about a half a point and closed at 1597, as we reiterate on every broadcast that if that VIX, which is the fear gauge, closes below our threshold of 20, the market seems to grind higher, and that is what we have been seeing over the past year. We're going to take a closer look at the VIX later on in the program. Crude oil prices eased about 68 cents and closed at $78 a barrel. Gold prices dropped $11.90 and closed at $2,739 an ounce, while silver closed at $31 and Bitcoin closed at 104,700. Now the market outlook, the technical condition of the market improved last week as the major averages were able to grind higher, as we also spoke of, that the VIX continues to go lower, so the market continues to grind higher. Underlying breadth, the heartbeat of the market, showed some much needed improvement. Now, with that introduction, we're going to go ahead and dive into these charts and look closer at the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, the Russell 2000, the VIX, crude oil prices, gold prices, silver prices, and Bitcoin. So as we can see, we're going to pull up our 4 grid, which is our long-term view. If you've been with us for a while, you know that we have a weekly view and a pre-programmed backdrop that gives us a very good indication on the long-term trend of the market. So what we're going to do, we got the S&P 500, we have the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we have the NASDAQ Composite, and we also have the Russell 2000, and we're going to maximize these charts so we can look at them in a magnified state. As you can see, we've been in a bull market with the S&P 500 since April of 2023, almost 2 years, and our proprietary program shows us that we have a green background. If you know we have a green background, we are indicating that this is a long-term uptrend, and it shows that, over the last almost 2 years now, we've been in a long-term uptrend. Even though we've been up, down, up, down, up, down. Here's our 40-week moving average. It has been moving up, 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 and our price is above that rising moving average, indicating that we are still in a long-term bull market. We do have indication from our secondary indicator, MACD, which shows that we had reached the top here at the high of 6,099 or 6,098 or 99.97. So until we see a positive crossover again in our MACD, we are just going to wait, watch, and see how this market reacts. But however, green background, price above a rising moving average, we are still in a long-term uptrend. We might be in a short-term pullback, but we are still in a long-term uptrend. Always remember, as we repeat over and over and over again, long-term trends dominate, short-term trends fluctuate. So that is where we are on the S&P 500. Now, moving on to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we can see with that green background, we are still in a long-term uptrend and have been so ever since November the 6th, 2023. Even though we've had, this is our 1 week price bars. Every week we go down, and then for 4 weeks we go up. 1 week we go down, and then for 1 week, for 4 weeks, 1 week we go down, and maybe 8 weeks we go up. 1 week we go down, 4 weeks we go up. As you can see, that volatility continues to be present there. However, our long-term trend, 40-week moving average, keeps us in a very calm, confident, and clear, consistent mind state that we are still in a bull market, long-term bull market. As we can see, we had 4 weeks of down. As we reiterated in our introduction, there was a 3-week downtrend, and all of a sudden here last week, we have a big up candle showing that there may be a bottom here to this downtrend. We still have our confirming indicator here, our MACD, that is showing negative momentum. And when we see that negative momentum, when that's our blue line crosses back over the red line, we will be back in a positive momentum, and then we can invest higher dollar amounts with confidence. That is your Dow Jones Industrial long-term uptrend, short-term downtrend. Here's our short-term line, and we see we came below that, but we were able to break through it and show signs of positive momentum, even though we don't have our confirming indicator here showing us that this is a sustainable move. Now, moving on to the NASDAQ composite, the tech heavy. As the tech heavy NASDAQ composite, we show that we have had a green background and been in positive momentum since April of 2023, almost 2 years now. We've just been going up, up, up. Sometimes we go down, up, up, up. Sometimes we go down. But remember, all the time, the market takes the staircase up and the elevator down. So with that said, each one of these price bars represents 1 week, and we have been going up, up, up until we reach that high of 20,000 on the NASDAQ, and we've been coming down for about 3 weeks. But last week, here we go, we started that thrust of uptrend. Again, long-term trends dominate, short-term trends fluctuate. So we have our short-term trend, our yellow line, that's our short-term trend there. It came below, but here on last week, it really came back strong. And with the MACD, which is our confirming indicator, it is still in the positive with a 1,000 300, reading of 1,300, 221, and the and the red has a reading of 1,341. So we're slightly, I'm gonna go ahead and magnify this so I can see it, so I can be correct. Yes, we still have a little bit of negative momentum in the NASDAQ, but for the long term, which dominates, we have a green background, we continue to be bullish on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Now, moving on to the Dow Jones Industrial. That's where we want to go to. Or we looked at it. We looked at the Dow Jones Industrial. We looked at the NASDAQ Composite. Now, moving on to the small cap Russ, you see that there is much more volatility. We go up, we go down in larger amounts. However, when we went down on a couple of weeks ago, and we have that negative momentum confirmation in our MACD, if we had penetrated this long-term line and remained there for the week, there could have been some speculation that we were changing direction. However, our background stayed green, and last week we had a huge up thrust in the price action with the Russell 2000, and now we're back above, again, still a rising moving average. We have not moved, and we're slightly above that short-term rising moving average. We need confirmation now with our MACD, our confirming momentum indicator, long-term momentum indicator, to move back into the positive. We need that blue line to be above that red line, and that will give us confidence in the small cap. So what is our takeaway here? S&P 500, long-term uptrend, short-term downtrend. What is our takeaway with the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Long-term uptrend, short-term downtrend. What is our takeaway with the NASDAQ Composite? Long-term uptrend and short-term downtrend. So remember, long-term trends dominate, short-term trends fluctuate. So now let's go ahead and move into our next section, and we can look at some of these indices that we mentioned in our introduction. So we said we're going to look at the VIX, and we're going to go to our other chart here. And this is Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin has a small, short-term downtrend, and it is starting to move positive again. So when we see that Bitcoin begins to move in the positive direction, and we have confirming indicators, we're looking for our Fisher transform to give us that buy signal. We look at BTF, and however, it is like really been beat up since Bitcoin has been going down. So we'll look for a turnaround in that. That is an $18 ETF, and when we get the buy signal on that, it will give us around 9% dividend. We're going to look at silver, where we are. Where is silver and gold? There is silver. Silver is still showing us a neutral indication, and we're going to look at gold. Where is gold? GC is giving us still a neutral indication, and we're going to look at oil. And oil has broken out and starting to move forward. So what we have in the energy space is ET, bam. ET phone home, that is our steady Eddie, and it's been really working for us. We're going to look in our AIO space. That is our artificial intelligence. It's been working really well for us, and we're out of time. So right now, every day and every way, we get better better every day and every way. We grow more prosperous, successful, and victorious, and God's love continues to surround us and follow us